Well, I took a stroll on the old long walk. A-I-A-I-A. Met a little girl and left to talk of a fine soft A-I-A. And I asked you, friend, what's a fella to do? Cause her hair was black and her eyes were red. Well, you right there, I'm taking over. Round the Sawfield Prom with the Galway. We were halfway there when the rain came down. A-I-A-I-A. She asked me up to a flat downtown on a soft time A-I-A. And I asked my friend, what's a fella do? Cause her hair was black and her eyes were blue. So I took her hand and I gave her a whirl. And I lost my heart to a Galway girl. But I woke up, I was all alone. A broken hearted to get home. And I ask you now, tell me what would you do if her hair was black and her eyes were red? I'd travel around and all over this world. Hold my hand and do nothing like a dog, girl. That's for the Galway girl.
1, 2. And 2, 1, 2. And 2. One, two, 1, 2. And then, of course, the closer you get, the better. It's harder.
Everyone. So that was the first set. So thank you so much for your patience. So we're going to do, the band's going to take a dinner break. So we have a half-hour open mic. And this would be a great time if you wish to share a happy story or memory with my mom. We'll have the mic open. And food will be coming out shortly. So if you want to come up before the buffet opens, that would be good timing. But I'll kick us off with the story. I think a couple members in my family have one too. I think Pat will have one. I think Dave, you have a mom story. But yeah, there'll be plenty of time to come up and tell your stories. So my story is when I was living in New York, and my mom and 2 of her friends decided to come to New York for the day. Because my mom's friend, Maureen Barrett, worked in an airline, and she was able to get them really cheap tickets, fly in and fly out. So my mom and her friends go straight from the airport to Fifth Avenue because they have no luggage. They can just start walking down Fifth Avenue, go to St. Patrick's Cathedral, and then I took a couple hours off work and I met the ladies at Tavern on the Green, and we had lunch together. And the servers were all charmed by the 3 Irish ladies. And then afterwards, when we were walking outside, we spied Craig Ferguson, who was, at the time, he was hosting the Late Late Show. And they were filming a bit outside of the restaurant. So my mom and her friends had to stop because they said, "Oh, he's so handsome." So we had to wait till he was done. And then we headed over to Central Park. And the ladies had to talk to all the drivers and see when they saw the buggies and drivers, because that reminded them of back home. And then we were walking around the park, and this is something that you see a little bit more often in New York, but occasionally in Chicago. There was a woman coming down with a stroller, and my mom's friend Maureen's like, "Oh, whenever the ladies, whenever they see like a baby in a buggy, they just have to go over, right? Like ooh and ah." So they get closer and they're ready to just do the, "Oh, isn't the baby lovely?" They were just ready to say that. They peek in, and it was a puppy. So my mom and her 2 friends, that was like their story, because they had a birthday club. So the 3 of them every year would get together for their birthdays, and that was one of the big stories that they each told, was about the woman in Central Park pushing her puppy in a buggy. So that is like my happy memory of my mom. And then I think Pat said he wanted to do something, but if he's not, are you ready? Do you need a minute? Okay, Dave will do it, and then if you come up, and then whoever else wants to come up, the mic is open.
I think that someone needs some help getting coffee.
I have so many funny stories, and if we don't have enough people, if not everyone comes up, I'll share a few more. However, one of the ones that recently, when Mary and I were moving back to Chicago from New York, we had a period between when we bought our house that we were staying with Catherine, as I like to call her, Mrs. B. And what I used to do, my routine was on a Friday, I would do three things: listen to jazz on vinyl. So yes, I brought a turntable over for her to use on her stereo. And second, I would make Negronis, and I would make pizza. So what I would do is I would always ask Mrs. B, would you like a Negroni? And she'd always go, oh, just a wee bit, just a wee bit. And so I'd be like, okay, so it would occasionally be more than one wee bit. It might be two wee bits, it might be three wee bits. But eventually, she always got to have some. And she'd always complain. She'd always say, oh, I really can't medicine. Well, a wee bit. So that was one of the more recent stories. Yeah. Here's one.
Thank you, Dave. Hey, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. It's so great to share some memories of our beautiful mom. So I'll share another New York story real quick before I talk about my mom. So when I was young, I worked at the World Trade Center, Tower 2. So I just would appreciate if we all take a moment to remember the victims of 9/11. Thank you. So sometime after 9/11, I joined the Army. And on my first deployment, I went to Iraq. I joined to go to Afghanistan, which I went to later on. But first, took a little detour to Iraq. That's where I met my beautiful wife, Gada. And Gada's here with us, but you probably see our daughter, Molly, running around entertaining you. So she's out there somewhere, burning off some steam. But so when I went to Iraq, I was up in Mosul in the north, which is where my wife is from. And I remember after 9 months, I came home on leave and had a couple weeks off. And it was great to be back in Chicago. So I came off the airplane. It was a long flight. I've been flying for about 18 hours on a chartered plane. Then I took the Blue Line down to Harlem. I walked to my parents. I remember I got to my parents' house. Moms will be moms, right? So my mom had created a huge sign in the window with some cartoons on it and everything. And it said, "Welcome home, Mike." So it was really touching. It was unexpected. After a long flight, it really lifted me up. So then I came inside, visit my parents. My dad had a good 6-pack of Smittix in the fridge. And there was no alcohol in Iraq, so I hadn't had a drink in 9 months. So me and my dad polished off the 6-pack like in about 10 minutes. And then I took a long nap for about 24 hours. So. But that was one of my favorite memories of my mom. So. What was that?
I think Mike Moran might have something to share, or did you want to pass over a card and we'll read it?
I'll say something.
Or,
When he's done.
I don't want to put you in a spot. So our friend Robin said she'll come up, and Mike, if you want to think about it for after.
Okay. So my memory involves Martin.
So Martin was a bit of a free spirit, if I may say. So there was, and he kind of did what he wanted. He traveled where he wanted to go. So there was a moment about maybe 15 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. It could be 17. I keep saying we're just trying to hold it up as long as we can and just look as young as we can. But we were all in Las Vegas. All 5, I believe. Perhaps Margaret, you weren't there. Where's Margaret? Oh, were you there? Were you there? Okay. So we were there, and Mary always kept me like in like touch. So we're gonna be in Las Vegas. I traveled from California to go to Las Vegas, and we're having dinner at this great Mexican restaurant. And Martin, who likes to do his own thing, decides to leave. And you would think that we would know his cell phone. We have a cell phone. We have his number. We did not have a number for Martin. Couldn't find Martin. We all are dispersed trying to find him. And your mom finds him. Catherine finds him. And of course, how she would know to walk across the street, the Las Vegas Strip, she would go down a half a block and she would make it to the Walgreens, and there would be Martin. He was just shopping for something. The next day I said, "How did you find your husband?" And she said, "The Blessed Virgin. She told me." And I went, mic drop. You are the most exceptional woman that I know. And I have a lot of questions. But I will say this, that I've lost both of my parents, as is Mary. This is not a club that anybody wants to be in. But for the 8 years or the 9 years that I've been without my mom, any time that I went to Catherine's house, anytime I sent her a Christmas card, anytime we interacted, which unfortunately over the last 2.5 years has been rare. She made me feel like I was at home, and I'm very grateful for that. She made me feel like I had a mom, even though my mom was in heaven. So I think all of us probably felt that at some point in her presence. So whatever line she had to Jesus and God, and whatever she was chatting about with the Virgin, I'm pretty sure that she's having great conversations today. And I'm pretty sure that she would look at this celebration as a blessing. And she knows that a lot went into this, and beautiful people are here to celebrate her. So I will end with this. You're blessed to have your mom. She's a beautiful human. And so I'm very grateful to be here with you all today to celebrate her. That's my message.
So, Mike, did you want to come up, or should my brother Pat? Your call. You want to do the card?
Dave, can you grab the card?
Thank you. Great. So before I read what Mike wrote, I just wanted, Mike was one of my, oh, can you hear me? Yeah, Mike is my dad's oldest friend. And Mike, please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. When my dad came to Chicago, he was in a rooming house. And I believe, Mike, that's where you met my dad, right? So I know they were dear friends. But I'll tell a story here that Mike wrote down. The Butler family, Martins and Gertrude, have been a big part of our lives since 1956, was it? And our best friends. We have spent, I'm sorry, my eyes teared up and I can't read. Oh, we love spending time with them at dinner. Oh, sorry. And at dinner dances. And many other wonderful occasions. They had the same principles as we had. Work hard, enjoy your parties. Yes. I agree with that principle. We have many great belly laughs, too many to mention. We miss them dearly. Just wonderful memories left. Thank you, Martin, Catherine, and all of our friends for all these years. Mike and Mary Moran. Thank you so much. And one more thing I know my mom would always tell about, so Myra, Tom, Mike, Mary, and everyone that would be at the Irish dinner dances, the county dances, Galway Association, Curie Men, all the rest, is that they always sat together at the same table, and you were usually the last table to leave the dinner dance, if I remember correctly. So, lots of great memories. And Pat, you're next.
Hey, oh, up here. And I first want to start by thanking my family for being awesome. Mary, thank you for putting this together. This is phenomenal. And I could probably talk for 20 minutes, but I'll try to keep it to a minute. So again, just my family's been terrific. Just we've been supporting each other. But so when I was sorry, I need to read my text. No, so when I was thinking about this, I'm like, God, this is so hard to do because I have so many great memories of my mom. I really had a hard time trying to think of the one thing I'm going to talk about today. Growing up when we were younger in Chicago Ridge, I just remember the times, we're all running around the neighborhood. My mom would just cook a meal for everyone. Me, all my friends, she didn't care. My dad used to call our house Uncle Martin's Restaurant. So it was good stuff. I've been having a poker party every year for 17, 18 years. And, my mom, many years, we had at her house sometimes. She'd make this huge Irish breakfast for everyone. People still are wondering what black pudding is, but I'm telling you, pig blood is good. I remember my many trips to Ireland with my family, my parents, and it's great. Seeing our relatives, having tea, having biscuits and tea. The Irish are awesome. They have the biscuits lined up, and it was just a great experience. We saw a great place, the Cliffs of Moher, Newgrange. I encourage everyone that hasn't been there, please get there. So last night, I'm like, what the heck do I say? What's the one thing? And my daughter, I have this diary. My mom started. When my older daughter was born, my mom started this diary. And my daughter was reading it from last night. She's like, she laughed. She was sorry for my Irish dance. So, she got some mulligan. But anyways, as she was reading it, I just realized, like my mom, there's not any one experience that, can describe my mom. Because my mom was just this continuing calm presence that we all know that she made every experience special, rewarding. I went to her house every Sunday for the last few years with my kids. And just being around her presence was just special. So, in closing, I'll continue to keep her as part of my thoughts every day. Just hope I can, learn from her, bring half the happiness and sereneness to others that she's brought definitely to me, and I hope to all of you out there. So, in closing, I'd like to have Margaret read the final passage from my daughter's diary. It's an old Irish wish. This is the last thing in my daughter's diary. So.
An old Irish wish. May the raindrops fall lightly
Oh, shoot.
I can do it. It's hard to read.
I'm sorry. May the raindrops fall like. I'm sorry. May the raindrops fall lightly on your brow. May the soft winds freshen your spirit. May the sunshine brighten your heart. May the burdens of the day rest lightly upon you. May God enfold you in the months of his love. Mantle of his love. Sorry. Sorry if I made some mistakes.
Hi, I have two stories about my grandmother. So my first one is I remember I really wanted to learn how to knit, and she had one pair of needles in her. She had this basket where she kept all her scarves and her yarn and needles. And I really wanted to learn, but she only had one pair of needles, so she put her hands over mine and she just kind of showed me how to do it. And she was really good, and she was really good, and she just knew how to knit And I was so surprised when she was doing it, because she made a small scarf. It was this big, but it was she made it really quickly, and it was really nice, and it was just it was a really special moment, because I feel when me and my brother saw her in her older years, we didn't do much with her, so it was special to have that experience with her. And then another time is when we were living in her house when we moved back to Chicago. We would always have porch parties when we visited, and we'd sit on the porch and have music, and then we'd eat our food outside and we'd play heads up, and it was always really fun.
The porch parties were some of my favorite memories too. So one time when mom and dad were going to drive me back to college, it was a 3-hour drive, and I was like, wow, what are we going to do in the car for this long? And so I said, Mom and Dad, teach me a song. And so this is the song that my parents taught me. Oro Shirabahamaya. I only remember the chorus. That's all. That's as far as we got. So the rest is here. And Fiona's going to help me. Oro Shirabahamaya. Oro Shirabahamaya. Oro Shirabahamaya. Anisha Hopton Tower. They were they are brought to bay, and the doggy we car on Shannon Marla. Fujita Nagola. Oro Shirabahamaya. Oro Shirabahamaya. Oro Shirabahamaya. Anisha Hopton Tower. To run your way, Choctaw Soya, Ogliama, Margarda, Eli, Penchi, Pregnant, Spani, this cure she Riga Goli, oh, Shedabaya, oh, Shedabaya, oh, Shedabaya, Alicia Hopton Tower. Avila barco becca mona membio in a ye shocked in graduate casina casca big fires fire golly oh Shedabaya oh Shedabaya oh Shedabaya Alicia Hopton Tower. Oh, Shedabaya. Oh, Shedabaya. Oh, Shedabaya.
Irish shot and Tommy.
That was amazing. You have another story? Yes. My mom's got some stories. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, well, I always knew Catherine was Birdie growing up, and I was very privileged in 1965 to go to Ireland. And Birdie was there with Mary. She was 3 or 4 years old. And her sister Rita. So my story goes way back. And I just felt it was a real privilege to go to Woodhaven, right? Woodlawn, sorry, where Birdie grew up. And I got to meet her parents, her mom and dad. And it really struck me being a really young woman from Chicago growing up and to see where she came from. You know, the farm and no electricity, no running water, no telephones. It was just amazing. And I just had so much admiration for your mom, my mom, and all the Irish immigrants. Bravo, all of you.
Thank you, Julie. Marion, did you have a story also?
Just check me out. Our father and my mother were brother and sister. So it was our dad's wish his whole life to bring your grandmother to America, and it happened. So we all have fond memories because actually my dad's oldest brother left Ireland before he was born at age 12. So it was so wonderful to see families reunited after what they went through to get to America. It was
Prison wall, I heard young men calling. Nothing matters, Mary, when you're free. Against the famine crown, I rebel, they cut me down. Now you must raise our child with dignity. Though I feel nothing right, where once we watched a small fever flare. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely on the field of Appalachia. By the lonely harbor wall, we watched the last star fall. Prison ships sailed out against the sky. Sure will wait for hope and pray for a love and happy day. It's so lonely on the fields without the rain. Long, long ride the fields back and ride. Where once we watched the small birds fly. Our love was on the wing. We had dreams, songs to sing. So lonely around the field, we're at the line. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl call. Michael, they have taken you away. For your stores have been torn, so the young might see them all. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay. Long lie the field I've been riding, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing. We had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the field of Athenry. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. Athenry. I've been a wild rover for many a year, and I spent counting money on whiskey and beer. Now I'm returning the golden great store, and I never played a wild rover no more. And there's no day, no day, no more. I play wild rover. No, no more. I went into a little house I used to frequent, and I told the landlady what money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such a customer is yours, I can have any day, and there's no day. No day to learn no more, but I pay all over. No more. I reached into my pocket, pulled out sovereign bride, and I told her things open wide, with the light right to it. I can't remember the words, but the words that they told me they were only and it's no day never. No day never, no more. No, never. Go on, John, take it away. paper as we ended up playing it for. No later, play no more, no more, no later, no more. Will I play no more? And it's no pain, no pain, no more. Will I pay no more? Thank you very much, everybody. It was a great time being here. We're the Cook Veterans Project sometimes. Today, that's who we are. And it was a real treat for us to be able to play with you, for you, and for all this. So, thanks. Thank you.